Welcome. I'm Karen Durkee, the Director of Social Media at Corporate Gray, and it's my pleasure to talk with you today about using LinkedIn and your job search. I'm going to show you how to use LinkedIn to get noticed, get connected, and get opportunities. And although this webinar is geared toward transitioning military, I think any job seeker will benefit from this information. First, a little bit about Corporate Gray. We help military veterans with their career transition and connecting them with employers through our website, our job fairs, and our books. On our website, you can have a free account, upload your resume, and search jobs. And recruiters use our resume database to find candidates that match their company's needs. We also host virtual job fairs to connect you with recruiters. And our next nationwide virtual job fair is going to be tomorrow, June 22nd. And I put the link to register for that if you're interested in the chat box. We also hold some in-person events. Our next in-person event will be next Thursday, June 29th, in Arlington, Virginia. And just to show you who's coming to tomorrow's virtual job fair, this is the list of companies that are participating in tomorrow's event. And you can see that besides listing each company's jobs on the job fair page here, we also list the LinkedIn network link for each company. And what that network link does is it takes you to LinkedIn and runs a people search to show you who in your network works at that company. And we do that to encourage you to reach out to your LinkedIn connections who work at the companies you're interested in, especially before you come to the job fair, to help you prepare for that event and prepare for your conversations with those recruiters. You can learn a lot about the companies from someone who works at that company. And we'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about using LinkedIn to network. Corporate Gray also publishes a military to civilian transition guide that steps you through the transition process, and it has lots of advice and resources in the book. And I put that link in the chat box. And that guide is free. We also have a social media guide as well that you can order. Besides working at Corporate Gray, I'm a military spouse. My husband retired several years ago, and I also grew up in the military. My dad retired when I was in high school. So I've been through the transition process a few times with my family. And to those of you on this webinar who are military or military spouses, I thank you for your service. Now, you don't need a social media expert to use LinkedIn. When you create your account, the website steps you through building your profile. So I'm not going to go through those basic steps. What I will show you are ways to beef up your profile and use LinkedIn to make your job search more effective. And if you're already using LinkedIn, I hope to show you ways that you haven't thought of for using it in your job search. And I've found LinkedIn's Help Center to be useful in finding answers and explaining features on LinkedIn. You can also just Google your question or search YouTube. There's tons of video tutorials out there to help you. Or find me on LinkedIn, connect with me, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. LinkedIn also has a veterans page, and I put the link is here, but I also put it in the chat box. And they're offering a free 1-year premium account upgrade to military members, veterans, and spouses. And so if you go to that veterans page, you can request that upgrade. It'll show you how. It'll also give you a lot of great information for veterans on using LinkedIn for your job search on that page. And if you're wondering about that free upgrade that they're giving to veterans, these are some of the features that you get that you don't, that beyond a free account. Now, the account that I'm going to be showing you when I go to my LinkedIn account during this webinar, I have the free account. So everything you see me do is included in the free account. But there are some of these additional features that if you're in job search mode, these can be really helpful to you. So I do recommend you getting that free upgrade if you qualify. Also, as with any online account, security is important. So just keep in mind some of these best practices for your LinkedIn account. And it's important to explore and understand all of the settings and privacy options in your LinkedIn account. So I'll show you where to find those settings, but I could do a whole webinar, just a separate one on the settings and the privacy and all of that on your account. So I'm going to let you explore those, but I definitely recommend you take some time to look at the settings and privacies of your account. Okay, now let's get to it and explore how you can use LinkedIn to build an online professional presence, grow a relevant network, get connected with people who can help you with your job search, and then get those opportunities, find job opportunities. And of course, a big reason to use LinkedIn, recruiters are using it to find candidates and it's working for them. So that's a great reason to be on LinkedIn and be found. So that's what we're going to talk more about today. That first one, getting noticed, that's mostly about building that professional online presence, which is your LinkedIn profile. But another part, besides your profile, another part of your LinkedIn presence is sharing your expertise, posting things on LinkedIn. So we're going to talk about both of these. If you've ever Googled yourself, and if you're in job search mode, I do recommend you look for yourself online because guaranteed, when your resume comes across a hiring manager's desk, one of the first things they'll do, besides scan your resume, is look for you online. So Google yourself, see what comes up, and if you have a LinkedIn account, that will come up high in the search results, and that's a link to take people to see your professional presence. So you definitely want to spend some time on your LinkedIn profile. The first thing about your LinkedIn profile is the link that takes people to your profile, and that's your, they call it your public profile URL. As soon as you create a LinkedIn account, LinkedIn assigns you a URL that takes people to your profile. And when I first created my account, this was my link to my profile. And it just took my name and it put a bunch of random characters after it because your URL has to be unique and LinkedIn doesn't want to figure out if there's another Karen Durkee out there. So it just grabs a bunch of random characters and puts it after your name. But you can customize this. So now my LinkedIn URL is, it just ends with the last slash and it just has my name. It's nice and professional looking. It's recognizable. People know they're getting to my profile when they click it. If your name is taken, and I'll show you where to do this when I go to my LinkedIn account. It's very easy to customize your URL and just get rid of all those random characters that they put at the end. Makes it cleaner, more professional. And if your name's taken, you can get creative. I could have done Karen Lockhart Durkee or Karen Durkee PMP or something professional like that. Still recognizable. You might have to get creative if you have a common name. And why customize it? Because you can put your LinkedIn URL, like I've put it at the top of my resume here. Put it at the top of your resume in your contact information. You could also include it in your email signature, or if you've got networking business cards, you could put it on there as well. And it just looks more professional if it doesn't have those random characters and you've customized it. Again, I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Also wanted to just mention the photo. If you're new to social media, you might not be comfortable putting your photo up, but on LinkedIn, recruiters expect to see a photo. People in your network expect to see a photo, and you're much more likely to make a more personal connection with the people in your network if you have a photo. And you're more likely to get clicked on as well when you come up in someone's search or come up on their radar on LinkedIn if your photo is there. So don't leave it the head and shoulders shadow. Here's a nice LinkedIn photo. If you don't have time to have your photo professionally taken, that's fine. Just a nice clean headshot. Don't cut yourself out of a wedding photo or something with someone's arm around you. You know, make it just a nice, clean, professional looking headshot of you looking um, professional and, you know, friendly. Definitely smile. Some people use when they're transitioning out of the military, they'll use their active duty professional photo because that's a great photo. Um, but you'd be better served using a civilian photo of yourself. Um, you want the recruiters, when they find you on LinkedIn, to be able to picture you working at their company. You don't want to look like you're still in the military and haven't actually gone through the transition. So I do recommend using a civilian photo. And also, LinkedIn has this open to work tag that you can add to your photo to show everyone on LinkedIn that you're open to work if you do want to share that information with everybody. And I'll show you where you can get that tag in a minute. Also, want to just mention the headline as well. Your headline, you want it to, it's going to stand out because it's at the top of your profile, and it even shows when you come up in someone's search, even before someone goes to your profile. If you come up in a search or you come up on someone's radar on LinkedIn, they'll see your photo, your name, and your headline. So you really want that headline to stand out. You only get 120 characters. So you want to fill it with those most relevant skills that you bring to the table. And also include your area of expertise. So for example, and don't use, you know, fluff words that anybody could put in theirs. Make sure you use those specific skills that you know are most important to the job that you're seeking. Here's some examples of headlines that I liked. They list specific skills. It's okay to use acronyms like this person used CISSP. If you think, if you know the recruiter or the interested party, your audience is going to understand that acronym, then it's fine to use the acronym. So CISSP is fine because a recruiter who's looking for a security professional is going to know what that stands for. But try to steer away from military specific acronyms that a civilian recruiter isn't going to understand. Then you want to spell it out and even explain what that is. And I like this last one. They even said in their headline what position they're seeking. That's great information for a recruiter right up front in your headline so that they don't have to try to dig to figure out what you'd be interested in. And then not only in your headline, but throughout building your LinkedIn profile, you want to include those skills that you bring to the table. And like in your work experience, a great way to build out your work experience on LinkedIn is to use your resume if you already have a resume created. Don't wait though until your resume is ready to get on LinkedIn. Don't think, oh, I'll create my LinkedIn account or I'll beef up my profile once my resume is ready. Just go ahead and dig right into LinkedIn, start connecting with people. Just add a few things if you're not ready to build your resume. Add a few things, a few skills on your profile just to get started, because the sooner you get started on LinkedIn, the sooner you can start building your network. But if you do have a resume already built, that's a great way to start building your LinkedIn profile. And you just want to put all of those skills and accomplishments that you put in your resume, those can go in your work experience. You could even use like your performance reviews. Those are great ways to remind yourself of what you've accomplished and put that information in your LinkedIn profile as well. Job listings are a great resource for figuring out what you should put in your LinkedIn profile and your resume too, for that matter. What you want to do is look at job listings, even if you're not ready to apply to the jobs, go to school on job listings and find those job listings of jobs that you are interested in See what the recruiter listed as the most important skills, the required skills. Sometimes they'll also have a list of preferred skills. And if you have those skills, put them in your LinkedIn profile, because those are the skills recruiters are going to be searching on when they're looking for candidates on LinkedIn. So what you can do is look for some job listings of jobs you're interested in, and then you can create a word cloud. If you just Google word cloud generator, there's a lot of free ones online. And what it lets you do is you can copy the job description and the list of required skills and preferred skills, copy them out of the job listing and paste them into a word cloud generator. And it will spit out an image like this that shows you what are the most important words, what words came up most often in those job listings. And you can see the larger words are the ones that came up most. And that lets you kind of hone in on what are the skills that are most important to that job based on a bunch of job listings that you pasted in. So really go to school on those job listings, even if you're not ready to apply to jobs yet. It can really inform what to put in your profile and in your resume. And another great way to know what to put in your profile, what skills, um, and beyond skills even, is to look for people on LinkedIn that have the job you're interested in working. So go to school on people on LinkedIn, and I'm going to show you my favorite way to search people on LinkedIn so that you find relevant people to not only connect with, but also to learn from what they have in their profile. And it's not stalking on LinkedIn. Let's call it tactful online investigating. And you're just learning from other people on LinkedIn. I love it when people look at my profile. It makes me feel good, and I hope they're learning from it and seeing something interesting. And so don't be afraid to click on strangers on LinkedIn and learn from their profile, because we're all here to help each other. I'm going to go ahead and go to my LinkedIn account, and I've gone to linkedin.com and logged into my account. And I want to show you, first of all, where that privacy and settings is. So if I click on my thumbnail photo here that says me, and under account, you can see settings and privacy. There are way too many settings for me to go through now in this short webinar, but please click on settings and privacy and look it over. I'm sure there's a lot of things you probably didn't know were there. For example, did you know you can have multiple email addresses aligned with your LinkedIn account? You only want one LinkedIn account. It's not like your resume where you have multiple accounts or multiple profiles that are tailored to different jobs. You just want one LinkedIn account, one profile that encompasses all of you. But if you have multiple email addresses, you can align each of your email addresses to that one account. So for instance, if someone has my work email, then they can find me on LinkedIn. If someone else has my home email, they can still find my same profile on LinkedIn because I've aligned both my work and home email addresses to my account. Also, under your settings and privacy, did you know that you can get a copy of your data on LinkedIn? You can export your connections, for example, all of your first degree connections, and we'll talk about those degrees in a minute. You can also, oh, and when you export your connections, it exports it into a file that you could open in Excel, like a spreadsheet. And if those, whatever connections have told LinkedIn that LinkedIn can share their email address, that will be in the spreadsheet, their email address. So now you have your connections email addresses for those who put in there that it could be shared. And that's a great way to reach out to your connections off LinkedIn as well. Also, you can set your job seeking preferences under this settings and privacy as well. So you just have to go explore it, click on everything, and see all the amazing things they have under settings. And also make sure that while you're there, your privacy settings are set the way you want it. A lot of people ask me, how should I set my privacy settings? And that's, of course, a personal decision you have to make. But keep in mind, um, when you're in job search mode, you want recruiters to be able to find you. And if you make your privacy settings so only people in your first degree network can view your profile, then, I mean, most recruiters aren't going to be in your first degree network, especially when you first start on LinkedIn. So you're really limiting what they'll be able to see on you. So I have my LinkedIn set to public because I want to be sure that recruiters and also transitioning military and veterans spouses can find me easily and learn from my profile. But that's something you can set under your privacy settings. See, I didn't even go to settings and privacy, and I still talked a long time about it. So it just tells you how much is there for you to explore later. Now I want to go to my profile and show you a few of those things that we already talked about, plus some more things you can do to beef up your profile. So again, this thumbnail icon of me, I'm going to click on it and I'm going to click View Profile. And when you do that, when you're logged into your account, you're going to be taken to your profile, and you'll see up here in the URL, it shows you what your LinkedIn URL is. So when you go to your profile, look up in the web address, and if it has a bunch of those random characters after it, then you want to go over here in the upper right where it says Edit Public Profile and URL. Click on that, and it's going to let you then personalize your URL. And you can see here, it shows you what your URL currently is. And then if I click the pencil icon, it lets me change everything after the last slash. And then you would just save it. And as I'm typing my name and changing my URL, it will let me know if it's unique or not. So you might have to get creative, like I said before. Once you've saved your URL, don't change it again, because once you start sharing that URL and you share this web address that takes people to your profile, if you change it later, then this link that you shared is broken. So that's the only thing on LinkedIn that you're going to set it and forget it, is when you customize your URL, save it, and then leave it alone. Don't change it again later. So make sure you choose wisely for your URL. And then again, you can click up here in your profile, copy that, put it at the top of your resume, put it in your email signature. You can see I've got my profile photo, my very first LinkedIn profile photo. I just had my husband take it. I was just looking professional, smiling, standing against a blank wall, and he took the picture just for my LinkedIn photo. And that was my photo for a few months until I could get a nicer one taken. And that worked just fine. It's better than not having a photo. Also, this header image, I created this on Canva because I think it's fun. But if you don't have time to create a header image, first of all, your header image here is not as important as putting a profile photo on. So if you don't have time to mess with the header image, don't sweat it. But if you do want to either put a header image on there, there's a lot of free LinkedIn header images. Just Google free LinkedIn header image and find one that speaks to, what industry you're in. Make sure it's professional. I've seen one that someone got a header image and it was of a golf course. And my first thought was, ooh, that's not going to show well on LinkedIn. That doesn't look professional. What's he going to be golfing all the time and not working? But then I realized the person whose profile I was on was actually a greenskeeper for a golf course. So it made perfect sense for his industry to have his header image be a golf course. So whatever makes sense to your industry, it's nice to have that header image. It's just another way to brand yourself. But again, it's not as important as your photo. If you enjoy doing graphic design, I did this image using canva.com, canva.com. It's a free software tool online that will let you create like an image like that. And then you can see I've got my headline. Um, we didn't talk about putting your location in, so let's talk about that a minute. Your location, if you know that you're going to be settling somewhere where you're not currently located, maybe you're located right now in DC, but you plan on finding a job when you transition out of the military, going back to your hometown. Let's say you're going back to Dallas, Texas. Then you might want to put as your current location for your LinkedIn account, you might want to put Dallas, Texas, where you're going to be located. Um, the reason is when a recruiter does a search for candidates, LinkedIn has in their algorithm, they'll look for candidates who are located near that recruiter first, even if the recruiter doesn't put the location in. So it's good to have your location. If you know where you're going to want to land, you could put that as your location. It doesn't have to be your current location for your account. Remember I showed you there's that green tag that you can put around your profile and it says open to work. That you can put it on your profile photo. And the way you get to that is this open to link on your profile. When you click on that, click on finding a new job and scroll down to the bottom of that. And this is where it will let you, if I click on this, you can see that it will add that open to work tag. So it's letting all LinkedIn members know that I'm open to work. Or you can just let recruiters only know, like if you don't want everyone in on LinkedIn to know that you're open to work. And then it won't put the tag on there, but it will flag your account as being open to work to recruiters. I'm not going to save this because I don't want my boss to panic and think I'm looking for a job. So we'll cancel that. But again, that was under the open to link where you can put that tag on your photo if you want. There are a lot of profile sections. When you first create your LinkedIn account, it steps you through filling out your work experience, your education, some of those main sections. But there are a lot more sections on LinkedIn that are available besides education and your work experience. Um, you can add your skills section, which I'll show you in a minute. Be sure and look under this additional section because you could add a section for your volunteer experience. If you do a lot of community service work, that's a great section to add. Maybe you speak several languages, you can add a languages section. So make sure you explore these additional sections that you can add to your profile to really make it more robust. You can also add recommendations to your LinkedIn account. And that's different from adding skills and getting your skills endorsed. So your recommendations section looks like this. Let me go down there while we're talking about it. Recommendations are when you ask someone, and they have to be in your first degree network. So you reach out to someone in your first degree network and ask them for a LinkedIn recommendation. It's not a big formal letter. You're not really putting someone out. It's a very simple, quick thing for someone to do. You can just ask for a recommendation. LinkedIn will send them an email with a link. They just click the link. They write a couple of sentences about you, and then they submit it. And that's all a LinkedIn recommendation is. Then when they submit it, LinkedIn will send you a message. You'll see it on your messaging tab, and they'll send you a message with a link to review that recommendation, and you have to review it and approve it before it shows up in your recommendations section on your LinkedIn profile. So again, for your recommendations, if you don't have a recommendation yet, if you haven't received one or given one, then you won't see this recommendation section in your profile. And what you need to do is go to the top of your profile, click on Add Profile Section, And I'm sorry, that it's a core one, I think. Hang on, where is recommendations? More. And under more, nope. Okay, you're going to have to go to the person that you want to get a recommendation from, go to their profile, and under their more button, the option will be to get a recommendation or give a recommendation. You can give recommendations to people too on LinkedIn. And when I ask for a recommendation from someone on LinkedIn, again, you're going to go to their profile and click on their More tab, and you'll see, I'm on my own profile right now, so I don't see get a recommendation or ask, it might say ask for a recommendation, but you will when you're on someone else's profile. And what I like to do is instead of sending the default email that LinkedIn will send, it lets you customize the email. And I would say something like, was wondering if you'd write a short recommendation for my LinkedIn profile and mention that big project we worked on. Or give them some clue of what you were thinking of when you thought of them for a recommendation so that they know exactly what you were hoping they'd write about. So it's a good idea to get recommendations from people. Some more sections of your profile, your About section. I have a lot more in my About section here, but notice only the first few lines of the section show up. So as you're writing your About section, which is where you can tell your story, and I recommend writing it in first person as if you're telling your own story. This is where you can kind of tell your story on LinkedIn. Don't write a novel, keep it short and sweet, but definitely include the most relevant skills and your accomplishments right up front in your About section. Don't open with a bunch of fluff because they're not going to see, all they're going to see is the beginning unless they click on See More in your profile. So definitely recommend you put a lot of your skills, your accomplishments, tell your story in your About section, but make sure you start off with the most important stuff. You can also list in your About section, you can have like a bulleted list as well of your expertise, your specialties. And everything that you put in your LinkedIn profile, whatever you put in the About section, the headline, the skills you list, all of those things are searchable on LinkedIn. So all of the skills that you list in your LinkedIn account under your work experience or about, those all act as tags to help you come up in a search when recruiters or anyone on LinkedIn is running a search on those skills. So that's why you want to make sure that you've completed your profile, you've got the About section, the work experience, the education section, all of those are filled out, and you've also listed skills and put a good headline in there. All of those things are searchable on LinkedIn. What is not searchable on LinkedIn is if you add documents. You can attach documents to the sections. For example, in my experience section here, you can see that I've attached my resume, an article that I wrote. I attached the URL to it, and I also attached a link to the book I wrote. So I've attached these to my LinkedIn profile, but attaching your resume, for example, does not make those skills in my resume searchable. When you attach a document to your LinkedIn profile, it's good to do. It makes your profile more robust. It gives people viewing your profile more information about you, but it's not searchable. It just is an image that you're attaching to your profile, not something that's searchable. So don't think that you can just attach your resume as a document to one of the sections of your profile, and then you don't have to fill out your work experience and all of that. No, because your resume is just attached as an image, and it's not searchable. So you can see I still, even though I attached my resume, I still wrote up what I do at Corporate Gray and my other jobs as well in my work experience. The way that you do attach your resume, and maybe you have several resumes, I'm going to go ahead and click the edit pencil icon and then click it for this first work experience to show you how I added those. So when you edit your work experience, and notice I can toggle on if I make a change that I want shared with my network, then I can toggle this on, and when I save it, it will share those changes, let my network know that I made those changes. So that's an option. Scroll down here to the media part, and that's where I added my resume. You can see here I added my resume, the magazine article that's online, and the book. So all those are just added documents to make my profile more like a professional portfolio. If you have more than one version of your resume, you can attach more than one document here. But I wouldn't call it like Karen Durkee Resume 1, Karen Durkee Resume 2, Karen Durkee Resume 3. Don't title them like that. Make sure the titles make sense. So I'd call them, if they were tailored for different jobs I'm targeting, I'd name one Karen Durkee Program Management Resume and another Karen Durkee Social Media Resume or Karen Durkee Training Resume, so that someone looking at my profile doesn't have to click on all of my resumes to see which one they're interested in. The title of the document is descriptive enough. So that's how you can edit your work experience, any of these sections, and then you can add documents. It doesn't have to be your resume or something you've written. It could be maybe there's a PowerPoint presentation that you created or a white paper about your industry. As long as you have permission to share it, you could save it as a PDF and upload that, attach that to your profile. And again, you're making it more like your portfolio. The skills section I mentioned, this is just you listing some skills in the skills section that you have. And I think you can list up to 50 skills. It might even be more now. But don't just make the skills you list, don't just make it noise. Really list the most relevant skills that you bring to the table. And you can edit your skills here. You can change which skills are pinned to the top, because notice when someone comes to my profile, they only see the first few skills that are listed, and they'd have to click on show all to see them all. You should still list more than 3, even though only 3 are going to show when someone goes to your profile, because all the ones you list are searchable. They work as search tags for your profile. But make sure that you do pin the top 3 most relevant at the top, so that that's what people see when they do visit your profile. So we talked a lot about what to put in your profile. I know that's a lot of information. Again, I've put a lot of these as bullets on that handout, and that will kind of serve as a review for you, hopefully, after the webinar. Also, look for me on LinkedIn, do a people search, and let me show you my favorite people search. Okay, let's go to the search box, and let's say I'm interested in working for Raytheon. So I'm just going to put Raytheon in the search box, and I'm going to get lots of search results. While I'm here, I'd follow Raytheon, because one of the first things that would come up is the company. But I want to show you how to search people, to find people not only to connect with, but find people to kind of go to school on, and see if they've got the job that you want at the company you're interested in. Go to their profile and see what they've got in their profile, and that would help inform you on what you should put in your profile. And also, what skills do they have? What education do they have? What certifications do they have? All of that is good information for your job search, especially if maybe you see that all of these job listings that you're interested in, or these people that have the job that you want. If a certain certification keeps popping up that it's required and you don't have that certification, then that's good information for you early on where, hey, I better start working on getting that certification if this is the kind of job I want. Or if you already have that certification or something similar, put that, be sure that's in your profile, maybe even in your headline. Okay, so let's do a people search. I just put Raytheon in the search box. I'm going to select people here. You can see I could search LinkedIn for lots of different things. I could search on Raytheon jobs or groups or companies, schools, but right now I want to search for people to find people to not only connect with and bring into my network, but also to learn from and see what's in their profile so that I know what to put in my profile. So I changed it to a people search and I got 160,000 results. So that's way too many for me to scroll through. So we want more filters here. So I'm going to click this all filters to filter my people search more. Since Raytheon's such a huge company, so you can search by, your connections. I don't want that. I want to search everyone on LinkedIn. You could narrow it down to your location. You could narrow it down to the specific company, like Raytheon has, a couple different things they go by. So maybe I'm mostly interested in Raytheon Technologies. I could narrow it down by that. Or by what they're talking about. Here's my favorite filter, past company. Now I want to filter it by, look, US Army is an option. So if I run this search, it's going to run a people search on LinkedIn for people in my location, because I set my location, who are current company. They currently work at Raytheon Technologies. And for a past company, they have US Army in their profile. So they're most likely a fellow veteran, a fellow Army veteran. Now, it could be they were a civilian working for the Army, but most likely this is going to yield me people who currently work at the company I'm interested in who used to be in the Army. And fellow veterans are such a great resource for your job search. They're oftentimes willing to help you with your job search. They're interested to hear from you and know that you're interested in their company. And they've been through the transition. They know what you're going through and they can offer you advice. They probably aren't going to be in a hiring position, but that's not why you're reaching out to them. You're looking at them on LinkedIn to, first of all, learn from what's in their profile and also to invite them to connect with you so that you can learn more about their company and more about their transition experience to help with your job search. You're not connecting with them to ask them to hire you. So let's say you're in the Navy. Well, I don't see Navy here, but I want to connect with some Navy veterans too. So you can add company and just start putting in United States Navy. And as you type it in, it's going to find it for you. Here you can see it's under US Navy. So I can click on that and now it's going to find people for me that have under their past company that they were in the Navy or the Army. So I'm going to click show results here. And now it's showing me people that are currently at that company who used to be in the Army or the Navy. And you can see it narrowed it down significantly. So now I can page through these results a lot easier. And when I see someone I'm interested in learning from or connecting with, I'd click on their name to go to their profile. And from there, I'd be able to invite them to connect with me. And I could also, from their profile, learn more about what they have in their profile and maybe what I should be putting in my profile. Another filter I forgot to show you was you can filter by keywords. So you could put in the job title and find people that work at the job that you're looking for. You can see this person is in talent acquisition. So they are in recruiting. But most of the people here are not recruiters. That's okay. I'm not just looking for recruiters to learn from and connect to on LinkedIn. I'm looking for anyone who works at that company that makes sense to me to connect with, that I can learn from. And also, it puts you on their radar as well. So that's my favorite people search, is to switch your search to people and then make sure you search on specific companies and make sure you set past company to whatever branch of service you're in or all the branches of service, just to find some fellow military member, some fellow veteran that you can connect to at that company and learn from. I'm going to go back to my slides. That was a lot about your profile and also a little bit about network, but I want to get into a little bit more about network in a minute. But your profile, building that profile is not the only way to be noticed on LinkedIn. You also want to post some things on LinkedIn. You can post about your job search. Just make sure you keep it positive. Um, you could post about, hey, I'm going to the Corporate Grey Job Fair tomorrow. It's a virtual event. I'm really excited to be meeting with Lockheed Martin and Raytheon or something like that, so that you let your network know, oh yeah, they're in job search mode. Oh, I didn't know they were interested in working at Lockheed Martin. I know someone there I could put them in touch with. So be sure to post about your job search and let your network know what you're thinking and what you're interested in. You can use these hashtags too that will make your post a little bit more findable by people. Um, Also, share links to industry articles that you find interesting. You can, of course, share a link to an article that you wrote, but you don't have to have written the article. If you find an interesting article about your industry, share the link on LinkedIn. It starts to make you look like an expert in your industry, even though you didn't write the article, because you're sharing this interesting information on LinkedIn. And then you can also publish your own article. If you want to write a white paper or something about your industry, you can use LinkedIn to publish your own articles, and your network will see your article. Um, you do that by when you write a post, you click on this write article instead of just starting a post. You click write article, and it will actually let you copy and paste in your article and publish it on LinkedIn. Also, just by liking someone else's post or commenting or sharing it in with your network, that puts you on that person's radar. I love it when people like my post or share it with someone else. It makes me feel good, makes me feel like I posted something relevant to people, and it also puts you on my radar because you liked it and I see that. So those are other ways that you can get noticed on LinkedIn. The LinkedIn mobile app will also let you add a video cover story. It's a 30-second video that you can add to your profile photo. You can only do this from the mobile app, not from going to linkedin.com in your browser. But if you click on that plus sign on your LinkedIn app, it will let you record a video, just a quick 30 seconds of you talking about basically your resume, what you bring to the table. Just make sure it's professional looking. And then people, when they go to your profile, they can click on your photo and they'll see your video as well. That's kind of a fun thing. You can also, if your name is hard to pronounce, you can add this audio, click on that and it lets you record you pronouncing your name for people. So that's something you can do from the app as well if you want. And also the app lets you um, get your QR code and share your QR code. That's your LinkedIn QR code. Let me show you what that looks like. So on the app, and this is the app only, I believe, you have a QR code that when someone scans it, and here's mine, if you were to scan this, it will take you to my LinkedIn profile. It gives you my LinkedIn URL, my profile URL. And the way you get to your QR code on the LinkedIn app only, I believe, is at the top of the LinkedIn app, click in the search box. And when you click in that search box, this bubble will change to a QR code. But you have to be in the search box. So you can see my cursor here is within the search box. Then you'll see this QR code here. And you can click on that and it will open up your QR code. You can either share it with someone or you can download it to your phone and have it to share, maybe put it on your email signature or something. You can also scan someone else's QR code. So let's say I'm at a networking event in person. Maybe I'm at the job fair tomorrow and I meet someone that we're talking and we say, hey, let's connect on LinkedIn. Well, open up your LinkedIn app, get to your QR code, like I showed you here from the search box, and then they can come over to do the same in their app, and they can scan your QR code and you can scan theirs. And then you invite them to connect right there from your LinkedIn app. You don't have to find them on LinkedIn later. So I really like that that way to connect with people on LinkedIn through your profile and their profile. Okay, so I already talked a lot about connecting with people, but there's a few more things I want to show you about your LinkedIn connections. And it really gives you a way to connect with people who can be helpful to your job search and even beyond your job search. Once you're in your civilian career, stay active on LinkedIn because these people can help you with your career and you can reciprocate as well. And why connect with people? Because that's how you get the job. That's how you get your foot in the door, is through your network. And I already mentioned how on the corporate grade job fair page, when you go to register for a job fair, you see this LinkedIn network link, and that is running that people search like I showed you. So I showed you it for Raytheon Technologies, but if I click it here for HII Mission Technologies, if I click that on Corporate Grey Online, it's going to open a LinkedIn, my LinkedIn account. As long as I'm logged in to LinkedIn, it's going to run a people search and show me who I'm connected to at Mission Technologies. And then I can reach out to those people and find out more information about that company before I come to the job fair. Who do you want to connect with? Well, besides the company employees, like we just mentioned, and recruiters, of course. And you might see recruiters with this hiring tag on their photo, just like job seekers can have that open to work tag. That makes it easier to spot recruiters if they've added it. But also look for your friends. Family members can be a great resource for your job search. People you meet at networking events, colleagues, people you work for, fellow veterans. I showed you how to do my favorite people search so that you can hone in on fellow veterans to help you with your job search. And also industry leaders, find presidents and VPs of the company that you're interested in and go look at their profile. Invite them to connect with you. If they don't accept or you can't invite them, follow them. You can follow them from their profile. And that way, whatever they post in LinkedIn, you'll see it in your news feed on your homepage. And you'll be in the loop with them, even if you're not connected to them. And it's about building a relevant network, not just willy-nilly inviting everyone you see on LinkedIn to join your network, and every single invitation that you receive, you just accept, accept, accept. You don't have to accept every invitation you receive on LinkedIn. Be discriminating. Keep your first degree. The first degree of your network are the people that you've directly invited to join your network on LinkedIn, or they invited you. And when the invitation is accepted, then that person is in your first degree and you're in their first degree. And though that first degree connection, those are the only ones you control. So keep your first degree connections relevant. My litmus test is if I can tell that you're military or a veteran or a military spouse, I will, a U.S. military, I will accept your invitation to connect, because my LinkedIn exists to help you with your job search, basically. Um, Also, if I can tell that you're a recruiter or have anything to do with recruiting or talent acquisition, that's a no-brainer for me. I'm going to accept your invitation to connect. If I can't tell those things, then I have to look a little deeper. Why do I want this person in my network? Or is there something they can do for me or I can do for them? If it just doesn't look relevant, if that person's not relevant at all to me, then I will ignore the invitation to connect. Don't just, and by ignore, I mean I actually click the ignore button. Don't just ignore the invitation by not clicking ignore or accept. Actually, click the ignore. It takes you off their radar. It pulls them out of your invitations list, and they do not get a message from LinkedIn saying Karen just dissed you. She ignored you. They don't get a message like that. You just fall off their radar. So don't worry about clicking the ignore. It's okay to do that if someone isn't relevant. Your network is going to grow exponentially. You don't need to connect with people that it doesn't make sense to. Don't be too discriminating, because you do want to build and find these relevant people. But again, the key is keep it relevant. Then your second degree connections, you don't control those. You control your first degree connections. Your second degree connections are the people who are connected first degree, to your first degree people. So, and you can connect to those people as well. You can invite them to connect with you if you see someone in your second degree. Third degree, it goes down from there. You can have followers. Fellow group members are considered part of your LinkedIn network, because you have a group in common. So groups are a great way to connect to people, like-minded people. Um, I'll show you what groups to connect with. And you can actually contact those people too. Even if they're not in your first degree network, you can message them on LinkedIn through that group that you're a member of with them. Here's how the numbers work on LinkedIn, just to show you how your network is going to grow exponentially. Your first degree, let's say you have 170 people in your first degree, then LinkedIn says you're probably going to have about 26,000 in your second degree. And then your third degree, which are the connections to your second degree, that's going to be 2 million people. So you can see, wow, your network grows exponentially, just organically. So make sure you keep that first degree relevant, because that's the one you control. And then these other, your network is just going to grow based on who you've connected to. And you can control your network from the My Network link on your account. And you can see here under invitations, you can see that if you have an invitation, I can click ignore, or I can click accept. If I can't tell from their headline whether I should ignore or accept them, then I have to click on their profile, and I'll go ahead and do that. I'll click on their profile. They might see that I went to their profile. I'm okay with that. And then I'll look through their profile and see if I should ignore or accept. That's another reason you really want your headline to be descriptive of what you're about. And don't just put transitioning military in your headline. That's not enough. Put what skills you have, what you bring to the table, what type of job you're looking for. In as few uh, lettering as possible. They give you 120 characters, but you can put a lot in there if you really think about what should be there. Um, Also, these suggestions for you that LinkedIn lists on your My Network page, I found them to be spot on with what's in my profile. They really seem to be relevant for who LinkedIn thinks I might be interested in connecting with. But I don't click connect from the list of suggestions because if you do that, it doesn't let you um, customize your invitation to them. So instead, I would go to their profile. Do I have a sample of that? I don't. But if you go to their profile, let me do that just to show you. I'm going to go to this person's profile. And from here, I can message him or click connect. He just has it set up to follow. Here I can click connect. There we go. Usually you see the connect button right there, but he has the follow button. So the way I did it, if you don't see a connect button here, click on the more tab and then click on the connect. And if I just send this, it's just going to send the default message to him. Hey, I'd like you to join my LinkedIn network. So you can click add a note here and it will let me add a note and I would let him know, hey, I'm transitioning out of the Army in 3 months, really interested in working at Raytheon, would like you to join my network and was wondering if you have any advice for me. I'm not asking him for a job, not putting any pressure on him, just asking him to join my network, and I'm giving him just a 1 or 2 sentences about why I'm relevant to him. And then when that person sees my invitation here, they will not only see my name and my headline, but under the invitation, they'll see the note I wrote. And that will let them know whether they want to accept me or not. I'm much more likely to be accepted if I've written a little note to let them know why I'm relevant to them. LinkedIn groups are a great way to grow your network. Look for groups in your industry. And again, you do a group search the same way I did a people search, but instead of selecting people, you select group and then put in the search box whatever your industry is, or you could put transitioning military. There are a lot of great groups out there to help you with your transition. Or also join groups. I mean, they have groups for everyone. On LinkedIn. So maybe for your hobbies as well or your interests. And then finding job opportunities on LinkedIn. LinkedIn can be a good resource for that because based on what you've got in your profile, LinkedIn will suggest companies and jobs that you might not have even knew were out there. But LinkedIn finds that they might be a match for you because of what you've put in your profile. So definitely look on LinkedIn to find more opportunities. Um, Explore that jobs tab on LinkedIn. There's the jobs tab in the menu at the top of your LinkedIn profile. And there's a lot of great information on that jobs tab. It's not just searching for jobs. There's this interview prep link on their jobs page on LinkedIn, and it will help you prep for interviews, help you know how to answer the most common interview questions. So lots of information here. It's not just about searching jobs. But then, of course, they do have the job search that you can do on LinkedIn. And also those check for the jobs that are recommended for you. Again, LinkedIn's using what's in your profile to help you find relevant jobs. When you do run a job search on LinkedIn, you can use that all filters, those advanced filters like I did for when I showed you the people search. So that you can really hone in on a search that's relevant. You can turn on a search agent. It'll turn on an alert for that search and let you run that search again. It'll like save that search. So that's a good idea too, so that you don't have to put those filters in every time you go to search jobs on LinkedIn. It'll also let you save a job that you're looking at on LinkedIn or apply to it right through LinkedIn. And you can see your connections on LinkedIn who work at that company right from the job posting on LinkedIn. So lots of good information for searching jobs on LinkedIn. Also, if you have that premium account, that free premium upgrade to your LinkedIn account, it will, when you're looking at a job or applying to a job through LinkedIn, it'll give you some information about how you stack up against other people that were interested in that job. Also, follow the companies on LinkedIn that you're interested in working for. Find those companies, find their official LinkedIn page, and click the follow so that you'll see when the company posts on LinkedIn, you'll see it in your news feed, and you can kind of stay in the loop on what they're talking about. And then also learn about the company from their LinkedIn page. And then also on their LinkedIn page, it'll tell you who you're connected to. Another great resource is people who work at the company who are a fellow alumni. And LinkedIn will let you search by fellow alumni. They'll let you search by your school that you went to. And connect to those people as well who went to the same school as you and work at the company you're interested in. Some of my top tips, I think I covered all of these. And these can be found on our blog at blog.corporategray.com. If you just search our blog for LinkedIn, it will come up with some articles and these top tips to help you further with your LinkedIn. That last one, number 7, can't emphasize that enough. Before you go to a job fair, before you go to a job interview, research the company. Use LinkedIn, but also use Corporate Gray. Use go to the company's website, their careers page. Research the companies, and be prepared to tell the recruiter or whoever you're going to be interviewing with how your expertise is a match for their needs. Don't come to a job fair without having done your research on the attending employers and just come and say to the recruiter, well, what do you need? What do you have? Come there and say, I know about your company. I found this job that I'm perfect for. Here's why I'm a match. And do that work for the recruiter ahead of time. And then your conversation with that recruiter then at the event will be so much more effective. Otherwise, they're just going to tell you, well, we have a lot of openings. Go look at our website. But if you've done your research ahead of time, then your conversation with that recruiter will be a lot more efficient and effective. I hope you'll use Corporate Gray as well as LinkedIn. You can create a free account. Anyone can have a free account on Corporate Gray. It's specifically the recruiters who are paying to use our website to search our resume database and come to our events. The recruiters are the ones that pay for it. You do not. And they are coming to Corporate Gray specifically to meet with military experienced candidates and military spouses. But anyone can have a free account. You can upload your resume so that the recruiters can find you. And we have a lot of great transition information. You see this transition guide link in the menu bar. We've got an education page. We've got a link to our blog that has a lot of great transition articles to help you. And we also have a newsletter that you'll receive every month that has a lot of transition information as well, and other information to help you with your job search. So we hope you'll use corporategray.com in your job search because all of our services are free to the job seeker. And I want to look through the chat box now and see if there's any questions I haven't answered. Oh, Aaron added some great questions. Thank you, Aaron. Pros and cons to the open to work tag. Um, it depends. If you're transitioning military, your employer, the military, knows you're transitioning. Some people who are civilian and they're transitioning from one company to another, but their current company might not know that they're looking for another job and that you might not want them to know, then you don't want to add the open to work tag. So only add that open to work tag to your photo if your employer knows, your current employer knows that you're looking for another job and they're okay with it, then go ahead and advertise that on your photo. Otherwise, you might want to not add that to your photo. Do recruiters dig into your first degree connections to see who you're connected with? Some might, yes. I don't know that they do, but it's possible that they can and they may. Sometimes they might. One of the main reasons they would look at your first degree connections is to see if they have someone in common with you, because then if they know that person, they can connect with them and kind of ask them, hey, I see you're connected with Karen. What do you know about her? I'm thinking about hiring her for one of these positions. So definitely your first degree connections are can be available to recruiters, and they might look to see who you have in common with them. Another question, is it positive to put the word transitioning into your headline? I like transitioning. I like that word, transitioning military. Don't make that be the only thing that you put in your headline, because that doesn't tell someone enough about what you do. But I like having transitioning military in the headline because it does let people know right away that you've got military experience. I like transitioning better than retiring. So for those of you that are retiring from the military, I would still use the word transitioning in my headline or in my about section, um, because retiring sometimes to a civilian recruiter means you're done, you're going fishing. Whereas to military people, when we say we're retiring, we know that that means we're going on to our second career. But either way, whether you're retiring, you're still transitioning to a new career. So I'd use the word transitioning. I don't think it has any drawbacks to say transitioning military. Um, yeah, I can't think of any drawbacks. Another question from Shanika, how long does it take to get approved for a corporate gray account? As soon as you create your corporate gray account, and let me go back to that slide. As soon as you go, you'll go to corporategray.com, you'll click on the login or sign up button. Now, this is different from your LinkedIn account. This is a corporate gray account where recruiters are also searching for candidates. But as soon as you click the login, and I can even show you how that looks. Let me go to Corporate Gray. You're going to click the login or sign up, and you're going to create an applicant account, and it's going to have you fill out this information, just basic information. It'll also ask you your branch of service. If you're a civilian or a military spouse, you can put other, and then for type or rank, you can put your rank, but if you're a military spouse, select military spouse. If you're a civilian, select civilian. If you've ever held a rank, let's say you consider yourself a civilian now, but you were in the military, you should put the last rank you held. If you were in the military, this rank will be the last one that you held. Don't put civilian there. You'll fill out all of your contact information, and then you'll click submit. And you'll also set a password for yourself. And then once you've submitted that, you will get an email to verify your account. So you control that. You don't have to wait. As soon as you've submitted your account, go to your email. You'll get an email from Corporate Gray that asks you to verify your email. Click on that link, and then your account will be activated. So it's all up to you to do. If for some reason you create a Corporate Gray online account and your account does not, you don't get that email or you can't log in, then go ahead and email me. I'm going to put my email address in the chat box just in case you didn't see it at the beginning. And you can go ahead and send an email to me and I'll make sure that your Corporate Gray account gets activated. If you have any questions about LinkedIn that come up as you're doing some of these things that I showed you, find me on LinkedIn or send me an email and I'm happy to answer your questions after the webinar as well. And Shanika, it looks like you're waiting for that email approval. So Shanika, if you don't mind, send me your email address and just send me an email and I'll have your email address that way, and I'll go ahead and make sure that your account is activated on Corporate Gray. Oh yes, Space Force, Aaron, good point to add Space Force. We do have that in our list of things, upgrades that we're going to do. I know Space Force is not listed as a branch on the accounts page. Very good catch. It's on our list, but it hasn't been deployed yet. So if you're in the Space Force, please select Air Force for now. And we're working on that. But thank you. If you are in the Space Force, I would select Air Force rather than other. And then, in your headline, you can put that you're in the Space Force because Corporate Gray's account lets you add a headline just like LinkedIn does. So you could put that in your headline and people will know the difference that way. Any other questions? These are great questions. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but I will stay on a few more minutes in case anyone has more questions. And thank you so much for your time today and for attending this webinar. I hope you found it helpful, and I hope you'll connect with me on LinkedIn. And I wish you the best for your job search. Thank you so much, everyone.